LG to at least win, I think, the 2 games in the losers bracket, which were Fnatic and FaZe back-to-back. Okay, at least, and then they're playing pretty well today. They've also been warmed up because they've been playing a lot of matches. I think they have a reasonable shot. We know how good they are, you know, through the Carbon series and how well they played the last few weeks. Maybe they didn't play as well yesterday. They seem to be having a better day so far. So I think Immortals is still the favored team, but that, you know, LG, pretty close. I probably would take Immortals 2-1.
Okay, so that will be, for those at home, exactly how it went in the group stage between these two teams. I mean, any thoughts, Jason?
I mean, just speaking of the group stage, we talked about LG Evil improvement, like backflip bird noises, going into hammers, not LG Evil. I mean, they went 0-3 yesterday.
Yep.
And to be able to take Fnatic and FaZe back-to-back, like Sasha just said, that shows some improvement from yesterday, a major improvement from yesterday. And I think going up against Immortals, I actually kind of want to give it to LG Evil, personally, 2-1. But I think one thing we did see out of LG Evil was just a lack of playing the right comp at the right time. But speaking of that, we do see a Torbjorn, which has to make Slasher happy.
Yeah, I mean, we saw this from Brazil Gaming House a lot, actually, and Slasher did want to see this. He thought that single support Torbjorn combo could work. Now, the turret is placed in the back of the map. It's a pretty common location. It seems to be the generally agreed on location to have, and get a lot of free damage early on. You can see a vast ultimate percentage is starting to tick up as that turret is actually inflicting damage. But interesting, look at this. It's actually the side of Immortals have made their way through the cafe themselves. They deny that area away from the defenders, and they push straight into the back. This is looking quite an elegant approach, Jason.
Yes, they take their turret down immediately, which forces him to replace it, which Super's trying to protect, but there's really nothing they can do because his shield is now gone with this Roadhog constantly spamming away. This one Train's finally able to respond though onto Nami to eliminate that shield, and the charge will be coming through. He actually does catch on a Volk, gets some very low HP, and Agilities finishes off the kill. That's 2. Not 2, that's just a turret and 1 going down.
What an interesting slow roll attack coming out from Immortals here. This is so curious. Jake actually takes down Aethan though. He finds Grim Reality as well. So good response here from LG, but to try and stay alive. It seems as if maybe Immortals didn't quite have the killer instinct. Maybe the sharpness to their fangs on this first push on the point to take it away, but Hype and Agility's getting it done. 3 kills between the 2 of them here means that they are going to be able to hold this point for the moment. There will be a chance for some attempt at reinforcement here if LG Evil want to go for it, but it looks like half the team spawns in far too late. They have to give it up.
Yeah, but they are going to have to spawn that whole door, and they do have Super with Earth Shatter, so if they get him in position, if they don't actually get pushed on and aggressed on too much, and Agilities can't pick up a kill, they have the chance to hold this doorway. So really kind of weird that we're not seeing any dive comps after we've had that best of 5 between Selfless and Rogue, where we saw it every single map. The charge comes through, so Nami does land it over on a Evolve, but he has a shield up in time, and Super picks up a kill without needing to use this Earth Shatter. So he's helping facilitate the rest of his team to build up some ult percent while they do wait for the next fight.
It's so funny what kind of game you get when you have 2 teams that know each other really quite well. That attacking route that Immortals took was just bizarre, but it worked out because they knew it would. And now, everyone seems to like trying to spawn camp each other these days. It is going to be LG Evil pushing themselves up quite aggressively in front of this spawn of Immortals. Now, Immortals have ultimates to work with here, so if they need to use them, they can use that shock and awe factor. That's the Earth Shatter. That stops Jake as well. He was ready to go in with the Dragon Blade, but now he's still going to try and get something done. But with a sound barrier put on top of that one there, well timed by Verbo, Jake won't get much at all.
He's not going to get much, but they're going to have a counter Graviton Surge. But the thing is that I think still LG Evil is going to win off of this one because they're still making Immortals use a lot of these ultimates, and they're still going to have a second chance to contest anyway. So they're really not losing out too much. Not to mention, Hype has already got down from Super. He does pick up the kill, and now Attack Force is even being forced out, and a Nano Boost just to get out of this doorway with this payload.
I hope you guys at home have noticed just how different the game looks between these 2 teams. They're both playing the triple tank, and they're both, like I said before, have a good understanding of each other. So these fights aren't over as quickly as they are when you have a dive comp that finds those 2 important picks. There's Reinhardt's on both sides, which is something we've seen quite rarely, to be fair, in the last few matches. And the Zayias are also present, with a Diva even for Train. LG Evil are a team that's very flexible, right? They've actually got a really deep hero pool. They've got a good coverage of heroes, so they can go for a lot of different options here. But it's kind of interesting to go back to seeing what this triple tank comps can do.
Super's been sitting on his Earth Shatter for quite a long time here, but Jake, who actually didn't use the Dragon Blade in the last fight, even though he did get Nano Boosted, does pick himself up 2 kills, and they do yet again hold the door. Not to mention, they're going to hold them in spawn yet again. This is just deja vu.
This is really nice from LG Evil. They're really starting to stamp their authority on this particular map.
Oh no, don't back away. Why? You have so many ults. You have 5 ults.
They're respecting. They're respecting, Jason. I'm back up here and maybe even get some high ground control for themselves. Of course, not really much to do with that, to be fair. They don't really have the Soldier 76 to make that work for them. But again, LG Evil did win this map the first time around. Bear that in mind. Definitely got the advantage from it, from the eyes of someone looking in the history books here, but that's going to be the Graviton Surge coming in. It's actually Super that gets the Nano Boost here. He's just going to swing the hammer straight through the Graviton. Jake gets on towards Hype, and Immortals, a very hasty retreat.
Well, don't tell me you're going to hold spawn now when you don't have Graviton Surge anymore. I mean, they're still pushing it. They actually have them split here as Ethan.
They want to chase these supports.
Yeah, they're gonna chase Ethan down. Like, him and Train together should be enough to finish this man off. This Ana player, though, Ethan is still alive on a sliver of HP. And he finally does fall to Jake. With them having a man down, now you can definitely hold this position because they have to wait another 10 seconds for this big healer to come back in. And Super has his Earth Shatter ready to go again.
Yeah, there's stuff all healing right now. It's only the Lucio healers.
Super's been sitting on his Earth Shatter this entire time. Nami used it last fight, but Super blocked it.
Yeah, that was it got Jake. Jake was actually knocked down. But
he used another one after that, just in this last fight, and he still doesn't catch anything off. The Super's just been sitting on this ultimate, which is so unique and weird to see.
Nami's now dead, so Super actually has sort of free reign if he wants to lay down that Earth Shatter at any stage here. He's got to hold on to it. Grim Reality switching over towards the McCree. He wants to respond to this aggression that people are getting in his face. And so far it's worked well. Train and Jake have fallen to him, and Super didn't actually have the chance to use his ultimate. He's probably happy with that because they died so far forward, and the payload has actually sort of not really gone anywhere at all. In fact, it's moving backwards. They're still going to be able to have a decent defense on the street space, and there's only a minute 24 left. This is a long haul still for Immortals to even get the next checkpoint.
I really wish I could talk to Super to ask why he's been holding on to this ultimate so long. He's had plenty of opportunities to pull this off. It just hasn't really gone for it just yet. That's with the Graviton coming through. Now is an opportunity to go for it, but just not a lot of targets to hit from this one. And Grim picks up a kill. Finally, the Shatter going to come down. This time again out of Nami. Super's been sitting now on Earth Shatter for 3 Nami ultimates, and yet that was a perfect opportunity to use it, and that might cost him the second checkpoint. I don't know why he's still sitting on it, but he's been deciding to do this for the entire map.
Yeah, I mean, it could also be a playstyle thing. There are a couple of Reinhardts that really do hold on to that Earth Shatter as a last resort, almost hold it in advance. There's actually going to be a Graviton Surge available here, so there's no reason why they can't defend here. Here it comes. Now, what is an Earth Shatter? There probably shouldn't be one here. It should be enough, actually. Yeah, Super with the Fire Strike actually gets most of the damage done. He still has an Earth Shatter. That's so massive, Jason. So massive. There's 30 seconds left for the attackers to get the payload across the line, and they've still got such a powerful ult in their arsenal.
I mean, I know I'm criticizing it, but you can also, if you hit an Earth Shatter correctly, like if Nami gets taken down or Shield gets destroyed, then you don't need a grab. You don't need, other ultimates committed to make that fight go your way. I don't know. Maybe we're just being too critical about this.
They're using like 1 or 2 ultimates in that fight, right? That's pretty sick. Now they have an Earth Shatter and a Self-Destruct. I would be surprised if Immortals can push this one. There are sick ultimates, and Immortals don't have any to work with here. So despite Super being wise or not so much with that Earth Shatter, he gets 2 with that one. That's important. That's going to start the fight up quite nicely here for LG Evil. 2 picks. Now the Self-Destruct goes up. Avast finds Verbo. No one goes down, but that's enough to clear the payload. LG Evil get everything they need right at the correct time, and they managed to hold outside of the Gold Studios Immortals. No camera moments for them.
Okay, Slash, let me ask you this. Do you think this is just mind games between Super and Nami for him to sit on an Earth Shatter the entire game until that one moment?
Nami probably was the best player for all of Immortals on that half. He played really well against Super. He, I think, definitely won the mind games, and his positioning was quite good for the majority of that set. I actually would think that Grim Reality and Agilities are actually a little bit absent in that. I mean, the game started really well, about as well as you could want it for Immortals, and then you have LG proceeding to hold 45 minutes, basically at spawn, where they can even do that without even playing dive comp. So, I mean, you got to be a little bit concerned, I think, if you're Immortals, considering how well the game had started.
Yeah, I mean, Grim Reality switched towards a McCree, managed to get a little bit more done. But, I mean, the ultimate economy was just a really interesting factor there. I think, like, when you see an ultimate held onto for so long, it's quite distinct. Nami was doing a lot of damage in a lot of these fights. He's landing a lot of charges. He definitely strikes me as someone that's a little bit more aggressive than Super in some of these cases. But the fact remains that despite Super maybe being ill-advised not to use that Earth Shatter when he did, he still had it at the right time. So, I mean, whether it's luck or some cosmic intersection of all these forces, he still held outside the studios.
I don't know. I mean, the thing is, because I'm really critical about it because I play a lot of Reinhardt at the moment, and like last season I played a lot of Reinhardt. So
thank you.
Well, because no one else plays them, and I'm a team player. I feel.
I know
team.
That's what you should be doing.
You're talking to an anime.
So that's why I'm really critical about it. But it's just, to me, just to be really weird to see Earth Shatter held that long. But in the end, I mean, they still hold before the second point was taken. So no matter how critical I am, they still held Immortal from finishing the map.
Oh, but we could have talked about so many other things in that break.
No, that's so unique.
Here we go though. With a Winston, we get a Farrah. No mercy here. It's going to be Rob on that Ana. Tracer in here for Train. So double DPS now going to be in effect for LG Evil. Let's see what they can do. The hook comes in. Avast going to be shielded up. Nicely timed there by Vol. Allow them to push further, and Nami has to be careful. He's taking a little bit of damage, so is Grim.
Look at Jake though, he's actually flanking on the high ground here into the cafe, trying to put some damage on. His super might have gone a little bit too deep. Jake still looking for some DPS, and he's only up to 35% of his ultimate, but he hasn't been able to pick up any of these crucial kills or help facilitate into these crucial kills that they need.
It's a Pharah Winston dive without a Genji. Train didn't actually dive into the cafe then, so Jake was trying to back up Super when he jumped in, and Jake's been doing a lot of damage here. He's been in a good position and stayed safe for the most time, but this is one of those wars of attrition. Again, these two teams seem to have these very drawn-out engagements, these very long, prolonged fights. Jake finds Luminosity, but that I think might have been his first kill of the fight. The pulse bomb of Train doesn't actually affect anyone, as most of Immortals can get off the payload before it even hits. And Train walks straight into Hyped. He gets that laser hair remover that he never wanted, and Jake now going to be set up on the water tower. Staying alive, needs to get back to the rest of his team, and this first push from LG Evil is falling flat on its face.
I don't know how the hell Jake's been able to do it. Maybe it's because of the back of Raw, but for him to survive that long in the fights and actually not be taken down was really a sight to be seen. Not to mention a third of the point was taken for LG Evil, so at least have that under their belts.
But bad, I guess.
Yeah, it's not bad. It's not obviously what they wanted, but they have the Graviton Barrage Nano Boost combo, so they have pretty much a guaranteed take in this point if they could just catch out 3 people on the side of Immortals.
Yeah, they've got a good little amount of ultimates to work with. In fact, both teams in the long fight were able to do a lot of damage. There was a lot of poke, but now those ultimates need to start being used. Oh, Graviton into the backline there, and you can see Primal Rage coming in. Luminosity gets a sound barrier just at the right time. Both those teams getting it. Now it's going to be a Graviton Surge coming out from the side of Immortals here. It manages to do the job. Agilities combines his ultimate, the whole hog, very nicely with that one, and Train and Super just get disintegrated.
That timing of that Earth Shot of Nami, I think, just completely disrupted the attack out of LG Evo, which I think netted them a hell of a lot of time here. 1:45 remaining. Considering how easy it was for Immortals to take the point, LG Evo have to be struggling, have to be really worrying what's going to be their next avenue, and it looks like it's going to be on the back of Jake. So they switch Super back over to Reinhardt, and they put Jake on the Genji. So they have the dive comp without the dive Winston, which is a little bit odd, but not to mention with even Nami not having Earth Shot available, it's not like you needed to switch to Reinhardt here to stop anything from coming through.
Pulse bomb onto Nami though as well. All it took was for Super to get the fire strike, and he completes the kill. Hype is going to be the next to go, and Super wants more. He's looking now for agility. He's up on the high ground. He gets himself a nano boost. Doesn't have the whole hog for that extra damage, so kind of has to just stand around and hope to get hooks, which he does. Vol's the first one to go down. The hook completes, and the shot is good. But now it is going to be LG Evil sat up on this payload. Will there be a charge? No, Agility goes on the high ground to avoid the charge coming in, but he's getting damaged very heavily, and Train manages to take him out. First point's taken, and now Immortals are very heavily extended here towards his payload. Nomi's trying to stay alive. He actually missed the charge on towards Train, and Train's able to wake up and do the damage to finish the Reinhardt.
We talked about this earlier, displacement from like Reinhardt swings and such. I believe Super smacked Agilities at the right moment to stop him from jumping on top of the payload. He's trying to jump on top and heal at the same time and use the take a breather, but he just delays that and keeps them on top of the cafe, not allowing him to drop inside the zone, and it actually captures the point for them. I want to say that's what happened, because that sure as hell what it looked like, but that was insane. And now Super, he went from 0% to 100% on his ultimate, switching over to Reinhardt, and Nami has his as well. So it's going to come down to a battle of who can get the Earth Shutter off.
Well, again, that's always such an interesting mind game between these two Reinhardts here. Nomi's definitely the more active, the more aggressive Reinhardt from what we can see. Super seems to be more calculating. Jake's up on the high ground here. He does have a Dragon Blade in just a moment after a little bit more damage, and he's going to go in and use that now. Into a whole hog though, which I found interesting. He didn't actually use the Dragon Blade, so he held on to that one at the right time. There's the Earth Shatter. Again, Nomi using his first, and 2 kills going the way of Immortals in this fight might just force Super and Code back. Maybe just go for the Earth Shatter there, Super, instead of waiting.
Well, I mean, they still have 2 minutes of time to finish off the map here, and they have pretty much 6 ultimates coming up in the next 10 seconds. They've only got 50 more meters to go, yeah. Yeah, so, I mean, I think he might wait for his opportunity. He's going to wait for Vol to get a Graviton off, plus you have a Dragon Blade out of Jake, or just use the Pulse Bomb to combo in with that one and save the Nano Boost Dragon Blade for the final fight.
Sure.
Into this one with the help of Super, who's going to have to, or Nami's going to have to turn to deal eventually with Jake. So let's see, they're pushing the payload up. The charge comes through and Super actually gets hit.
Oh, Grim! He kills himself. I believe it was actually a Helix rocket. Not even reflected at him, otherwise it would have shown up in that way. Luckily, Athan was able to kill Jake and stop that Genji from going nuts with the Dragon Blade, because that could have gone very nastily for Immortals. Agility's forced to train. Vol looks pretty charged up here, and this could be quite scary. You've got to respect this. Nomi does get bionated by his own mana, so a bit of healing, but he has to back away here. the sound barrier actually getting forced out, but Verbo, the only player to actually benefit from that. Maybe Nobi was, but it didn't last long with the pulse bomb being stuck to him.
The thing is, that last fight was really nasty because that was 5 ultimates used on the side of LG Evil, and they really didn't get much distance. Still, finally, they're able to get some sort of tipping point coming through. The Train landing a pulse bomb on Tsunami, but now Super, who's still been sitting on his Earth Shatter, has the opportunity yet again 2 halves in a row to win the map for his team.
He's the master of hoarding ultimates here. He's just, hoping for that clutch Earth Shatter. He's got to be careful though. He might not have the opportunity now. He charges out of the Graviton Surge. He needs the Earth Shatter this one, but the shield was in his way. He's trying to hold on to it, but he goes too low. He gets taken down. He held on to it maybe for too long, or just honestly didn't have an opportunity to use it in that fight. Less than a meter remains for the payload to get across the line. There is one more push available to LG Evil here. Their margin of error is very slim, but they have a nano boost. They still have that Earth Shadow that Super has been holding onto jealously. They have a chance.
Well, Grim, if he can get attack visor up for this one, they're going to have a nano boost to pair it with.
Train as he was... I reckon he just sniped him out. Yeah, he died just by the opening there to the Wild West phase. That is fantastic stuff from Nathan. That really puts the pressure on LG Evil now, hugely.
Alright, so Grim, we need to get you on the high ground, man. Actually, he's on top of jail, so if they can get a nano boost onto him and attack visor, that's going to be good enough to shut them down. But the thing is, Train switch over to D.Va to eliminate that. So if Train can get in his face and prevent him from getting any damage off, as long as Super can get an Earth Shatter,
sleeping.
That's going to be huge.
Let's see what they can do here. Super still has an Earth Shatter, but he needs Nomi to drop his shield, and Vol's trying to work on that right now, but Grim gets attack visor from the high ground. Train's in a good position to block most of this damage, but he can't stop all of it. Grim finds a vast. Jake goes down. No! The Immortals look like they're going to take this one away. Super needs to be the difference right now. That's the Earth Shatter, but it's blocked. He held onto it so long, and he eventually falls down. Fortune favors the bold when it comes to Reinhardt playing. Nomi's definitely got the better of him this time. Overtime ticks down. And unlike the first time these two teams went head-to-head, Immortals, they take it.
I'm sorry, Super. You're actually one of my favorite Reinhardt players out there, but holding on to Shadow the entire time to have that happen is really unfortunate.
Let's discuss that a bit. Like, why? And, like, are we...
The thing is, I don't even know why. I don't know why you would hold Earth Shatter the entire half. I actually don't know why. I mean, it's really hard to get a good Earth Shatter off when you have him versus... I don't know if Quad... I don't know. Sasha, what makes you think that LG Evil... What's the mindset? Like, what's going on in the team to decide Quad DPS is actually a way to go to make something happen?
It has been run, I will admit, more on Hanamura than their Anubis, and they have tended to be playing this triple tank stuff on defense, and the furthest that they've gone is 2-2-2 for the most part. So maybe they won't run the quad DPS here, but I believe Train played Widow last time they were, and I actually like that stuff. So I believe if they're maybe a little bit more flexible on their offense, then they'll have a good chance. But if they're not, they need to be really concerned about Immortals running the table on first and second point in the first 2 pushes.
All right, so that's a legitimate concern to be looking out for here. Immortals are dynamic and they're frightening on these particular maps, especially when their pushes work out. They're one of those teams that will bring that D.Va along, but we've already seen LG Evil play Train on the D.Va as well. So, going to be triple tank here. Probably no surprise to some of you guys coming out of the side of LG Evil. For Immortals, though, they do want to run double DPS in this situation. So it's going to be the Tracer and Genji up against the solo 76. The fight's already begun. Super gets the charge against Verbo, and Train actually gets the kill on towards Ethan with the damage from the rocket boost here. 3 for 1 in terms of kills in this fight, and LG are looking very solid to start with.
I always find it so dangerous to actually push up that staircase when you have a Reinhardt enemy at the team. Because it's just pretty much bowling. Yeah, I think it's harder to miss than to ever hit a charge in that position. I mean, yeah, you're getting really aggressive to Reinhardt, and you actually could be out of position, but he has the support of a D.Va and a Zarya to keep him alive. So it's not like you're going to kill Super when he gets aggressive and charges like that. And that's what LG Evil was known for back when they were running quad tank setup.
See, at least unlike Rogue, there's a D.Va on the side of Immortals to deal with that Soldier 76 ulting, and they don't have a Reinhardt, right? So they've got that. But Immortals have gotten right up to the point they've actually forced LG to fight on the point out in the open here. Train is trying to peel off hype from the rest of his team, but he can't save Jake. The D.Va versus D.Va battle is still up in the air, to be honest, as Train manages to get on towards Nomi, but both of them have been finding key kills in this fight so far. Super finds hyped, and now the dash is going to come in here. You can see Agilities needs to go for the Dragon Blade. It was a good bio grenade actually used on towards LG Evil to keep themselves alive there. In actuality, the self-destruct wasn't even necessary there for Train, as they'd already managed to hold off.
Neither was the Dragon Blade. I'm not sure exactly why Agilities used that when they already actually had a lost fight. They lost, I think, 2 or 3 people before even decided to unsheath that weapon, and even then, he got absolutely nothing. So, I don't know, that was a little bit questionable. Maybe he thought he could actually pull that one off in like a 1v4, 1v5 situation. But in the meantime, now they don't have anything to nano. You can put it on to Nami so you can survive a little bit longer, yeah, but the guarantee to get kills is pretty much gone without the nano boost or the blade.
Well, nano boost on both sides here, but of course the nano boost actually being allocated to Nomi in this particular situation. He pops that Primal Rage though. He's stayed alive for a hell of a long time, but he's the only player on his team that's getting kills. He tries to jump in front of Volt to prevent him from lasering down agilities, and that actually works, but Nomi's given up a drastic part of his health pool to do that. And when Avast finds Grim Realities here, the DPS players of Immortals are not finding the ins they need to turn these fights in their favor.
Not at all, and Immortals, like Sasha said before, they beat Runaway on this map just yesterday, and yet they seem to be struggling against the lineup that LG was throwing their way. Train just cleaned that one up, taking out Agility, who now has his blade again available, but again, there's no boost. There's a desync between these two players of Agilities and Athan to actually make a nano blade happen.
Well, don't forget, I mean, Immortals wanted to play Hanamura. If they had the chance to pick, if they lost the first map, they wouldn't have picked Temple of Anubis. So it may just be a pure fact of LG being more confident on this particular map. They definitely look more solid, and it seems like it's a little bit scrappy from Immortals. Like they don't quite know exactly what the flow chart of their dives is going to look like, or where they're going first, what their first port of call is, and how to sort of proceed from there. Self-destruct comes in here, but I mean, Nomi helps out LG by knocking them into the room with the rocket boost, so they actually aren't affected by the self-destruct. This one could be a bit nastier though. Still no one actually claimed by that one, but Avast and Agility's getting killed. Agility's fine super, he gets the dash through him, and now the DPS players are getting their job done. Grim Reality gets on towards Drake, and now Volt being knocked backwards on the point in towards that little building. He doesn't even make it there though. Hype catches him. Now it's going to be just the Diva and the Lucio working together. Finally, Immortals do break through, they win the fight, but again, this is a little bit too slow if you are supposed to be better, at least on assault maps, than your opponents.
And Super going to be sitting on Earthshatter again. I think that's a little bit more intentional this time, considering they knew they lost the fight and he got pushed down relatively quickly, so he's going to be able to hold on to this one to shut down the push coming through, which we do see coming into Hype on a Reaper, Grim Reality on Tracer, and Agilities on Genji. In the meantime, Jake has switched over to Sombra, so trying to use Sombra and the extra healing you can get from her, not to mention the EMP. And what we saw just earlier on, where AKM got hacked in Temple of Anubis out of Selfless, where Sinatra did that one, just completely shut down that attack that was coming through that could have won Rogue the map and the series earlier.
Pulse Bomb on towards Super. Battle's on the wrong side of the shield. He survives it. Hyped is actually switching over towards Reaper here. He really wants to deal with these tanks and break them down quickly. That sound barrier might be the difference maker here for LG as it keeps them alive, but quite some time, but Volt fell to Nomi. Now it's 1-on-1 in this fight. Train gets on towards Agility. He's very good at neutralizing that Genji if he's caught out in the open. And Super, 3 kills, one after another. Make it 4. There's a reason why Jason loves him so much, and that was an incredible performance from him. They're going to prevent Athan from really leaving here. Not much he can do. Tries to go for a bionic grenade, tries to, throw something in the mix there, but that was pretty darn solid from LG Evil. Super, a big player in that fight.
And now with the MP out of Jake, I mean, you have to kind of wonder, can Agilities really get anything off this? As long as, if you're a Avast in the situation and you get your speed and you amp it up when you do have Agilities go in, if Jake hacks them or EMPs them, there should ideally be no chance that Agilities are able to get these resets and be able to wipe your entire team. So 1 ult committed to stop 2 is going to be huge. But he used the MP a little bit earlier on before Agilities does use anything, so they're just going to back away and wait for the re-engage.
Interesting. Agility still finds the kill on Super here, so that EMP might not actually end up being that valuable in the fight at all. No one really being hampered, I guess, for that. Oh, Agilities is lucky to have survived. That Rob 420 is a formidable opponent, but Agilities finds Avast as well. In fact, they trade kills there, and that's not what you're looking for from your Immortals. You do need to have at least I don't know, maybe you can lose 1 or 2 people in that fight, but it needs to be cleaner than this. And now Super just stands on the point, sits back in the corner. He's got a shield, he's trying to protect himself, kind of like the Roman tortoiseshell style. Doesn't work out though, and it will again be LG Evil cementing their position here.
So the nano, I think that was the nano blade. Yeah, it was Agilities as he picked up the 2 supports in the back, but Jake again with another EMP ready to go already, using it in that last fight alone. And Super getting close to his Earthshatter. Train actually even switched over to Torbjorn? And it looks like he's going to be committing over to this. Okay, I was going to say, I'm not sure why he had that one picked up, but he does switch to Diva last second because Hype does have Graviton Surge, and if Hype can't connect this, and even if he does, if they group up too close where the MP can shut them down, then they could still lose the fight even having the perfect engage.
It's quite realistic to think that you can actually use the future vacuum to suck up that graviton surge. We'll see when it comes in. No, the EMP's there. I mean, that's not a bad time to use that one there. It's going to be the Earth Shatter from Nomi, Betrain and Drake getting kills there again. The defense still seems to hold, but Agilities gets 2 kills. They're actually fighting aggressively in the little moat, the underside where that health pack is. And so far, it's Immortals coming out on top here. Agilities is concerningly low though. And that health pack, I think, at least was hacked for Immortals, but they got no one there to use it. Grim gets wrecked by Super, and Immortals need to rinse and repeat.
So actually, that wasn't too bad of a fight for Immortals, just because they only committed 1 ultimate out of Nami, and they were able to save everything else, and they're going to have basically everything they need to actually lock this one down, because Jake has no EMP to stop this one. It comes down to Super. If you can hit an Earth Shatter to catch out multiple people, then you can hold this point, or else I think Immortals just might have enough to finish this.
Well, we've been a little bit critical of Super's Earth Shatters. I'll be honest with you, Nomi only got 1 kill with his beforehand. Will Super have the chance to use it? He does use it. There's a Graviton Surge, though, in effect. He gets by a grenade or 2. He's not going to be able to stay alive for very long at all. Nanoblade coming in for Agility. Zabar first to fall. Now he stands up on the point, looking for another target, but he doesn't even have to. The fact is, LG Evil have been pushed off this point entirely. That's the late EMP, but for the most part, everyone can use their just default weaponry to actually get damage done. There's not enough on the side of LG Evil to pressure them in a big way. Hype gets the D-suit on train, but Super comes in with a fire strike. He's always a part of the fight, gets another kill there as well. The defense coming back in, and now, if you're Immortals, you're starting to get very worried.
You just need to die, and unfortunately for Ethan, he's just not going to have the opportunity to. They're going to hack him, they're going to keep him here. With 18 seconds left, he won't be able to join his team for the fight, so they're going to have to fight this one without him into overtime.
Sucks.
2/3 of the way done, and they have no ultimates to use. Nami's getting really close to his Earth Shatter, but Jake's constantly being a nuisance towards the backside. 5 seconds left to go here. They have to touch the point.
Oh, and they'll get there. They'll just get there. It's a good little connection on the charge for Nami, but Super was shielded up, and then just pretty much takes down his opposite Reinhardt. We're in overtime, of course. There'd be no other choice here, and Agilities has to deal with 2 tanks. No nano boost for him, and Vol's just using the laser. They're going to nano boost Desire in this fight, give it that extra damage. Vol was very well charged up because Immortals were so desperate to get damage done. He's going to be really kicking it now with that particle cannon, and Grim Reality just gets wrecked. He's going to be now the EMP over at the front of the point, and there's no chance. When you're EMP'd, you can't use dashes, you can't use mobility abilities to try and keep that overtime going. And only 1 point for Immortals.
So Sasha, I have to ask your opinion on like the synergy of Immortals there. Like what was going on between the team and their ultimates? They didn't seem to have like one good combo go off.
Yeah, biggest problem for them was the combo and just the ult usage in general. Throughout that whole defense, LG had better ults and conservation in terms of using them, especially considering Assault and how Temple of Anubis works. You really need 3 or 4 going into a fight where the defensive team only has 2 or less. And then they needed to coordinate more offensive pushes that are just kind of junk rushes, force ultimates out of LG so they can save up. That never really happened, at least enough in time. I do want to note the Sombra defense on second point is being used more and more. We've seen it in Korea a little bit. Selfless has been running it in this tournament. It is, to me, a very solid option against this dive offense. You're able to take both the Mega 200 health pack underneath the bridge, and you're also able to take away the 75 right near the front door. And those are 2 things that Genji and Chaser usually go to when they're trying to, get their dash resets and stay alive and do more damage on the point. And so Sombra is actually not, I think I'm liking it more and more, especially with the Sombra buffs lately. It's a good pick.
There's 3 health packs inside that second point. There's even the one off in the right-hand side room if you're defending. So there's, on that second point, you talked about the first. So there's a lot of opportunities for that to really work out quite nicely. Sometimes when we talked about the EMP kind of can help the enemy team stack their ultimates up artificially because they can't use them. It doesn't remove their ultimates, it just prevents them from using them. So they lose the fight because they can't ult, but then they come back potentially with ult advantage. So it's just an interesting thing that happens when you... It's a double-edged sword, right? Because you force the enemy team to conserve their ultimates. But anyway, now it's going to be LG Evil on the attack. They're just going to get both points. Easier said than done, though. Immortals need to step up, though. That was a lackluster performance from them on that first half, considering what they were able to do on Hanamura last time.
And position Ethan has right now as well. He's very susceptible to Jake actually dashing his position, but he's actually immediately going to be turning around here. And looks like the hook has come in out of Grim Reality, who's going to be playing the Roadhog this time. And Nami gets the kill in a super, and they're looking to clean up here. Volt unable to turn one onto Agilities, but they're grouped up in this tight little room here, which allows, as time ticks away, time for Immortals to push up in here the way they want to and secure these kills.
I don't mind if Immortals mind too much. This is taking some time. They probably need to start killing these guys about now, otherwise more reinforcements are going to arrive for LG Evil. That's not good. Nami falls to Jake. The poke war actually being won by LG Evil here, and defenders really should be stamping out this kind of play. But Immortals are getting wrecked. They messed up in a big way. They're hugely ahead now in players in this fight. They'll be able to pressure over towards this point. Jake kills hyped. Train just pushing forward there. You can see that Agilities has to just get the heck out of dodge. And Immortals just got trounced. No other way around it.
Yeah, I think that they definitely took a little bit too long to force that fight, and once they did, somehow Vol was so damn charged that it was just easy work for him to just train over the entire team. And I mean, look at the ults that we do have as well. Like, Jake has his ready to go. Train already at 73% as well on his self-destruct. Graviton Surge is coming up soon too. I think actually this is very good for LG. I mean, this is definitely very good for LG Evil, but I think there's a very good chance that they can actually take this map.
Yeah, you're right. Those critical ultimates, we're almost hitting that critical mass there. You know, that win condition on an attacking team that's running Genji and the like. But let's see. Jake is that sole DPS player on his team. LG Evil still like to play with 3 tanks. So he needs to be very effective at getting these kills. He needs 3 kills, I think, at least in the start of this fight to make it happen here. But you can see that right now, Immortals are just trying to match the positioning of LG. That's going to be the Graviton Surge, Dragon Blade coming out, all the ultimates being expended. They just have to save up a little bit of ult percentage. Agilities, though, responds with his own Dragon Blade. He only gets the 1 kill on towards Rob 420, and then he falls to Jake. It's just perfect. Jason, I can't really praise this enough. LG have done this exactly by the book, exactly how they needed to do. And this is one of the biggest winning margins I've ever seen on this map if it goes this way. Self-destruct comes through. Perfect stuff from LG Evil. They make it one apiece in this series, and they're keeping it pretty damn competitive, Jason. That was sick.
2 to 1.
Don't know what to say about that. Won the first fight pretty convincingly after Immortals got too aggressive at the wrong time, and then they just snowballed all their ultimates. Like, instead of just rushing into point like we were talking about, they wait a couple seconds and are like, hey, let me just get my nano. I don't know who's gonna win this because I feel like LG Evil in general have been playing better today, but Hollywood was not really convincing for me.
And it wasn't, but it was definitely a lot closer than the second map was. So, I mean, if you want to try and evaluate it on those particular merits, LG Evil just dumpstered Immortals. So, I mean, looking at this kind of map, that ultimate advantage, that ultimate economy, is maybe less impactful than maps like Temple of Anubis, where you only need to win on average like 2.6 fights, I think, to win the map, in winning maps anyway. But here, there's a lot more fights. There has to be lots of fights. It's kind of the way it goes. But good start there. You see how much damage Nomi did by landing on top of Jake and Rob 420. Immediately forced out the biotic grenade. Had to be used defensively.
We built up 50% ult as well here, but we do see the fair community of Agilities on the high ground, able to spam at anyone pushing a little bit too aggressive. But now Nami might have overextended. Grim Morality sure as hell has, and Volt picks up those kills. And even not to mention the charge comes through, the suiting Train, and it actually looked completely in favor of Immortals, and yet LG were able to turn this around just by being defensive, actually just backing away, giving up some ground, then just charging back forward.
Yeah, I mean, we didn't really talk about this, but we've got the Agilities Farah coming out on towards this map, and Slasher sort of says he likes to see it on this map. Maybe you're a little bit undecided, I guess it really depends, but it was sort of be very effective for Rogue, I feel, with the amount of damage that AKM was able to do. So that's going to be Agilities' role, surprising enough, to do damage. But Nami already has his ultimate. That's quite impressive at how quickly he's managed to accrue that percentage. And we'll see now if he can take enough attention away from Agilities to let him do the damage he needs to. Nano boost coming out there. That was from Rob 420. And it's going to be used on towards Vol here as well, keeping him as the gatekeeper at the front. But already, Agilities has managed to get into the back, and he actually has a barrage.
Not the barrage, but does he really have the opportunity to use it? With them all grouped up here in this position as well, he definitely does, but the problem is Train does have defense matrix. He still has not been desuited, so he's just going to have to back off. I think Grim Morality even being nano boosted now, if I'm not mistaken. On to the point here, doing some serious damage, picks himself up a double. Agilities gets the desuit, gets the kill on a Train, and now has the barrage to transition into the next fight.
So Tracer isn't an ideal nano boost target because the animation of her reload is actually quite lengthy.
Spend more time reloading than actually shooting.
Exactly. It's the same as Roadhog being nano boosted without a whole hog, right? But in a pinch, it still gets the job done because it does. That damage reduction is important. Obviously, she doesn't get extra mobility anymore, but she already has a lot of that anyway, right? So it still worked out. No harm, no foul. He gripped there. He managed to get his pulse from that last fight. He uses it to automatically win this next fight by killing Jake.
Not to mention how Agilities with his barrage, he has the ability to actually get behind them when they push in and pop the ultimate down, pretty much directly behind them, not giving any sort of chance for Train to turn around. But it's really aggressive out of you to do that if you're Agilities here. But he's on the high ground behind them. He's still looking for any opportunity, and you can still see that Immortals or LG are respect this by sitting inside the building still, not actually overextending it.
No, the Graviton gets 2 kills and then Super finds a third on towards Agilities. I think you're a little bit too close for comfort. Sometimes as Sparrow, it's hard to judge that. You don't realize how close you are and how much range a Reinhardt has when he starts walking at you and swinging, especially if he gets speed boosted in the moment prior to that as well. You don't realize how much ground he can cover very quickly. So that's a lost fight there. We're now 49 to 49 apiece. Currently in control of LG Evil. They're going to try and hold it. They've got 5 ultimates to work with, Jason.
And now, see, this is where Slusher's saying he likes fair in the beginning because it gives you that potential early fight win, then you switch later on. But here, like, this is where I kind of wonder, like, what's he really going to do this composition when you have a shield to compete with and you have a diva? You're not going to get any damage off, and you're not going to get a concussive blast off. So you have to come in from a really odd angle where your team pushes in from one. Yeah, or you kind of just have to hope that they're going to mess up here. It looks like he's been able to come in from an odd angle and provide some sort of control. And by control, I mean get Jake to focus onto him as he just stays alive and makes it so Jake can't shoot anything else. But he hasn't picked up any kills, and he's just in fact died.
I mean, you know what? Credit to Agility, he didn't try and go for a barrage. He saw that Jake managed to get the nano boost on that 76, so he just knows there's no point spending any ultimate. It's actually a really good fight, this fight for Immortals. They've drawn a couple of ultimates out. They've had a chance to accrue some of their own here. They need to respect this Graviton Surge. They need to go now, though. They have to go now. The whole point of drawing out ultimates was to make this fight successful. Nomi actually gets a nano boost. He's jumped on towards a point here, but that's nasty. The self-destruct from Train is going to make this an absolute massacre, and Nomi is caught in the blast. There's no way he was going to escape that. He had to stay, but now LG Evil are going to make it impossible for Immortals to hang onto this one. Overtime, still a very late Graviton Surge coming out there. That's still all going to be secured. Hype couldn't keep his team in it. Super going to get the last 2 kills as he often tends to do. And that's the first round, going over towards Luminosity Gaming Evil.
I mean, that's the gambit that you take on running Pharah at the beginning of Village. Either you try to get the kill on the Ana and be able to spam the door on the top left, or you die, you don't do anything. Agilities ends up staying on Pharah, doesn't use Barrage until the very end of the point, kills nothing, and then eventually switches to Genji when it was way too late. I think one of the biggest problems with that is that Train was Diva. So especially considering the recent changes with Diva, she can block even rockets even easier now. So, you know, LG came out with the right comp to be able to go against the opening Pharah.
I think there was such a small margin of error too by them, because we talked about, you know, the dry run they did in the second to last fight, and they're able to have 5 ultimates up to do that final push with, but because they lost that second to last fight so late, they had to rush everything, and then they didn't get the fight that they really wanted.
Yeah, so in its own context, the way they draw out ultimates was good, but in how long it took them to do that, not so great. Definitely a good point, something to consider there. Kills traded early. Super gets the charge towards Nomi. Normally it's the other way around. Nomi normally the aggressor in these cases, but Super wanted to come forward. He's got a lot of backup and a lot of shielding from Volt here, who himself is very low, but he's sticking himself in the backline to stay alive, and Grim can't get any access. He's trying to flank around the right side, but he's being met by Train with a defense matrix.
Well, this time Train's gonna get hooked in, which allows Grim to take this elephant side. But now it's Vol going to be taking up that torch to just hold him back. And the point's already been taken here for LG Evil, so they're able to just bully them off this position with the Verba already going down, and they want to punish even more.
This is nice. This is a very good start. I mean, Rob already has a nano boost. Oh, holy hell! There are a lot of ultimates already coming out for the side of LG Evil. This is pretty nice. Vol gets hooked in and, yeah, took a little bit too much damage, especially given how charged up Hype was. So LG Evil need to back away, give a lot of ground here. Not necessarily give up the point.
He's in the corner. He's got Earth Shatter ready to go. He does pull it off, and he does hit 3 people. Where's the follow-up, though? Hype's eventually been after this one. No, gets an nano booster just to stay alive. But Grim's already dead, so they lost that man early on in the fight. But that one Earth Shatter alone might have been enough to actually help them secure this fight and allow the entire team to respawn back in and group up again.
Nomi goes over the edge here. I think so. I think Immortals actually stay in pole position. And that's actually massive because they managed to save themselves from overextending. That was Super that actually gave them the buffer they needed after making arguably a bit of a mistake. Now they're spawn camping. That's disgusting. There's no cover from a Diva self-destructor when you throw it into spawn. It's a large open square. So Agilities and Grim Reality, there was no way we're going to escape that one. That's filthy. That's BM. It's also slightly arousing to see.
A little bit. Just don't get aroused next to me. I'm just saying, because we're at my place and my bed's right there. But Bull does have the Graviton Surge, and Jake does have the Dragon Blade, which means that's an easy wipe for them. That's a 100% easy wipe. So if they can just get this ultimate combo off correctly, then you have to look at the fight after this as being the chance for Immortals to come back.
Sound barrier being used here, and this is just Immortals. They're going through their ultimates now, making sure they don't lose this fight. But they probably want to get a little bit of damage done now to make up for the fact that they've spent a lot on them, and they don't. They use ultimates in that fight. They only kill Nomi, I think, and now there's the full, I guess, amount of ultimates that you're really going to hope for if you're Immortals. They have to go now. If they can be stopped, great shield. Nomi doesn't get the Earth Shatter. Super has that one on lock at this stage. He gets nano boosted. There's a whole hog coming out from Agility. Trade to 1-for-1. Beautiful responsive Earth Shatter there. Not only does he stop the opposition Reinhardt, but Super also stops the whole hog coming out there. That's beautiful from Immortals. What a clean finish. They're all over this map.
Hype died before he can get his Graviton off in that fight too, which allowed them to take that fight so well for themselves. 100-0 Slasher. I was hoping for a little bit more of a close game here on control, but so far this has just all been LG Evil.
Yeah, LG's team fighting was just much more solid, and they even used the elves better on that round than they did the round before. Right now, the triple tank setup isn't quite working for Immortals. Maybe they should be switching up to 2-2-2, or well, I mean, this would actually be the round that the triple tank has been so good on. So first Sanctum as general, I think we'll probably see mirror comps from both teams.
Well, I mean, if you're now Immortals here in this situation, you're down 2 maps. This could pretty much kick you out of the entire tournament. You're fighting for your tournament life here, so you don't have to go home, even though you're already home, like Mitch said. But they have to change something up. But as you're saying, they're just mirroring here. Right? Who can play it better? And as we've seen before, when it comes to mirror comps, that's just LG Evil's book. That's their playbook. Play mirror and play it better.
Well, we're really focusing on the Reinhardt battle in this particular game, I think, because it's just so interesting as a clash of different styles between these two. With Nomi being the hyper-aggressive player and the Super being a little bit more calculated in his play. So far, though, it looks like LG Evil forced to back away a little bit. Rob420 does find agilities, and Hype sets himself up on the point here. So this is going to require a response. And straight away, Hype realizes that he's actually sort of brought all the reinforcements purely by stepping onto the point. So LG Evil, as they deserve, they win the first fight, they get that first kill, they take the point.
And Super trying to be pushed up. Look at this ult percent already, 75% compared to 30% for Nami. I feel like this is the month of Melee of January, where it was just Hammer and constantly talking about how Super could play his Reinhardt and how aggressive he could be, and the back of his team is able to do that. But Nami gets the charge kill on a Vol, and Hype does chime in on a Super. So finally, Immortals are going to turn things around here, where it looks so grim for him.
Yeah, like I said, in the Reinhardt game, fortune favors the bold. It was a brief hold for LG Evil up on that first point. 23% was what they managed to gain themselves, and now it's going to flip back in Immortals' favor. Rob420 does manage to get a parting gift kill, but I don't really think that can be exacerbated or sort of built off of at this stage, as we will see LG Evil wait for their entire team to be ready to roll again. Nanovisor is available in this fight. There is a Reinhardt still on the map, and so I think Rob420 and Train probably want to wait until that shield's down, or even better, the Reinhardt's dead. Maybe we see Nomi just go for that aggressive charge, or Super, should I say, go for that aggressive charge. He's got Earth Shatter. This could be nasty. Train finds Aethan. He actually pops the Nanovisor right now anyway. He gets his second, he gets his third. This is working perfectly now. Nothing Nomi could do to stop that damage. Train with his 4th kill. The Grim Reality is firing back with his own 76. The problem is he's had to back away. There were more just retreating kills, and Train has his 5th.
And Super, again, blocks another Earth Shatter of Nami. This man has been able to step up. I think we've only seen maybe one, maybe 2 Earth Shatters that have gone through out of Nami to connect onto the team of LG Evil, but he's been doing fantastic. He's been this brick wall that they've needed, and now with Graviton and Earth Shatter up and ready to go, even the O-Hog just a few seconds out of Jake, this is where things are going to get grim here. 50% built up for them. If they can just turn this next fight cleanly and build up a couple more ultimates here to allow Train to get close to his attack visor, this could be deadly. This could be the tournament-ending series for them.
They have cornered Immortals right now. Now they're starting to put the thumb screws in. Graviton Surge comes through and allows LG Evil to get 2 kills. Now they've boxed Immortals inside this room without a full team. Jake gets hooked in. He's just going to go for the whole hog. He got shielded up, and this is a beautiful way from LG Evil to really stagger in a elongated fashion over on Immortals' lineup. Agility's managed to fire back there, so this could turn back in their face. The Super gets hooked in and taken down. The hook and book, as I like to call it, but Rob420 is there. He responds. He gets the healing. Now Vol has to be careful. He needs to back off this point. He's hoping that actually Train will come in with him. The attack visor was there, but he can't really use it right now. His shield got popped so early on in that fight.
And he's not really in position either, too, because he's being funneled and focused into this tight area. But Jake gets the kill to Grim Reality. The Sleeper coming through. The Soundberry comes through as well. And if the Graviton Surge be used on 3 people and Super be knocked on the ground by the Sleep Dart, it's going to eventually be woken up. But the Earth Shatter comes through. It hits Nami. It hits Agilities. The Soundberry out of Verbo there are going to be able to keep them alive. And the Nano Boost on Super is going to allow him to do some serious damage.
Super always seems to be the second to use his Earth Shatter, but it's because he blocks the opponent's Earth Shatter first. Really stunning play from him. He's really... It's knight to e4 kind of stuff, Jason. He's playing it like a chess game. He gets a shield. He was a little bit low, and Aethan knew that. He knew he managed to hit the Bio Grenade. The boop is unsuccessful from Burbo, and with Grim and Hype there, it's not enough to break this shield down. But this is still good for Immortals. They still control this point. They're actually getting percentage off this. It wasn't a full hold from LG Evil, and this might really hurt them.
Well, that's going to be the reset thought of them, and going to see one last fight here. Super, Earth Shatter ready to go yet again. But nothing else to follow up with out of them, and only Aethan was really close enough to the side of Immortals right now to have something consistent to use, because Nami's Earth Shatters have just been blocked out for the most part of this entire series. But here we go, final push, 92% built up. Can LG Evil take the point back?
Oh, the charge doesn't quite connect, but Nomi gets the Earth Shatter. He did get nano boosted. Put to sleep! That's massive, stunning stuff there from Mob420. But the point was still taken. With the Earth Shatter coming in, there wasn't enough from LG Evil to actually get up on their feet and go and stop the points from being accrued. So Immortals kicked themselves in this. I thought we'd actually be able to see LG Evil possibly sort of hold on and stabilize in those last moments. But Slasher, it was not to be, and finally, Immortals fight back in this best of 5.
Yeah, I mean, LG had a good opportunity there with 80% and the ult advantage going into that fight to take it away, and maybe some missteps. Jake getting caught out, feeding some ults on the second stage, and now Immortals gets a little momentum to try to make this happen.
Well, it was 3-2 last time on Nepal here, and we did see Agilities open up with Farah just on Village before, but it looks like he's switching things up, though, going for the Roadhog this time.
I like that. That's good.
Group up.
Seems to have worked out. Now, we're heading into our 4th round. There's still hope here for Immortals, no doubt about it. They've actually bought themselves a fighting chance in this match. This is a best of 5. It's not a best of 3 like Apex if you're used to watching that, so obviously it's not over yet, clearly. But Jake opens up the fight very well for Luminosity Gaming Evil. He hits that Helix rocket on towards Nomi, and that's probably the last person on your team you want to lose in these fights. And now you can see all the poke damage, and this is what happens. If you kill the enemy team's Reinhardt, you can unlock potential for your team to get so much ultimate percentage because the enemy team just eats your poke like it's going out of fashion.
And that's one thing we've been talking about with Orisa, which will be coming out next week, how she can't really replace that Reinhardt. The ability to just move your team on the back of your shield is so impactful, and we're seeing both these Reinhardts be able to do that for both the respective teams. But look at this for the backside D.Va trying to get some early damage in. So he's not going to be too successful in doing too much damage, but the point's being contested.
That's fine. Train's just swooping back and forth. He's actually keeping a bit of attention on him, enough that Super was actually able to get the better of Nomi in that case. And again, the Immortals sort of having to back off the point yet again. Nano boost for hyped here. They're really putting a lot of faith in this Zarya pick. Earthshatter comes in. Super was hooked, but the Earthshatter had already come down, so there was no ability for the Roadhog to actually get the meat shot in there with the scrap gun, and that's a huge fight, and that's a lot of damage done, a lot of ultimates percentage accrued here. You can snowball a lead off this kind of fight.
Well, yeah, snowball. Speaking of that, look what we have. Jake and Rob ready to go with the Nano Visor. Like, that alone should be enough to shut them down. Ethan, though, has switched. He's gone away from the Ana over to Zenyatta. My question is this a little bit too late here? Because with 50% built up, all it's going to take is 2 really convincing fights.
There's no D.Va here as well, so if that Nano Visor comes in, this could be absolutely devastating, especially while Nomi can't shield right now. You can see Volt going forward. Volt actually got the Nano Boost there. That might have been a mistake, I'm not sure. But Jake still gets enough kills with that Tac Visor to make it completely worthwhile. And now, yes, it's on for young and old. Look at that push. Ethan and Hype died just outside of their spawn. And now there's going to be a little bit of time in that stagger. There is a Graviton Surge coming into this next fight. If Immortals don't win this fight here, they're in deep trouble. Train has a self-destruct. Avast has a sound barrier. Vol has a Graviton himself. This is still LG Evil looking in a very solid position.
They can't group. They cannot group. If they get grabbed into a self-destruct, it hit. Graviton Surge hit. Pulled them all together. Self-destruct is well going to be used here, and that's going to be 3 quick kills. But Nami gets an Earth Shot off from behind. Gets quite a bit of damage off this, so Super's going to respawn, getting hyped out. Yes, but Grim picks himself up a triple kill. He misses the charge, and they're able to turn this point around at 95%.
Oh man, it's getting late. I actually thought that missed. I thought it flew over the top of the bridge, but it actually dropped down and did catch them. Okay, that's the fight they needed.
Yeah,
95%. Maybe not the fight they deserved, but the fight they needed. 95% to 7 now. So this is a long way home to try and bring things back for Immortals. But the only way they're going to do it is by starting. Verbo has a sound barrier, so that's an ultimate that their opponents do not have right now. It might need to be a junk rush for LG able to accrue some of this aforementioned ultimates. Will that buy a grenade though? That forces out the sound barrier. That's nicely done. The Grim Reality finds Vol. Super goes down. Jake responds by staggering Nomi out a little bit more, but that's probably all that we'll see for LG Evil here.
Well, they have the Nano Visor. The problem is Ethan, he's going to have his Transcendence, so as long as Immortals stay grouped together, this combo that's coming out of LG Evil will just not get any damage done. Then again, if Ethan gets taken down for some reason, if he gets separated from his team, if his team doesn't stay grouped in time, then we could be saying goodbye here to Immortals. But they're going to be pushed in directly onto the point, which is exactly where I want to say Immortals want to fight for this Transcendence to have maximum effectiveness.
Transcendence coming in over the top here. Ethan switching over towards this Zenyatta, hoping to get maximum value out of it. And so far, that's a ton of healing going over towards his team. It was a brief disengage for LG Evil. They're still healthy enough, and only having actually super down at the moment might give them an opportunity. Rob for 20. Ethan's so low. Yes, Jake completes the kill. Rob for 20. Open that one up with a biotic grenade, and this could be it. This could be LG Evil re-establishing dominance on this point. Vol, he gets in towards Nomi there with the laser, and Grim Reality's forced to recall off the point. It's going to be captured now and going to 97%, and this is a fully staggered side of Immortals. They won't be able to have all 6 players on the point. It's just not possible. They've got no choice. They'll put it in a very nasty position in terms of their respawn timings, and that's it. The map is done, and it is going to be Luminosity Gaming Evil put themselves in the lower bracket finals for a chance at it all. And Immortals just couldn't hang on.
Yeah, that was an insane series slasher.
Yeah, Jake and Rob 420, I think having a very good series for Luminosity, playing very well for their team. I mean, if you're Immortals, Grim Reality and Nomi played very well. I think for these 3 games, they tried as best as they could to bring this team home to victory. Agilities, to me, did not really have as much of an impact, even though, you know, he does do a lot of damage. We have to know how much of that is shields and whatnot. And I believe that a matchup we didn't really talk about so much is Vol versus Hyped, and considering how strong Zarya is and how many ultimates you get, it felt like Vol had a little bit of the better game between the, especially on that control.
What a recovery.